Moon Knight, Marvel's multi-minded warrior.
Azrael, DC's Angel of Death.
These two warriors are some of the craziest out there, and we're here to see who wins this God-given bout. Mark Spector was your average man, going through a bunch of odd jobs.
He went from a Force Recon Marine to a CIA operative to eventually landing on a mercenary.
However, while doing a job in Sudan, he was attacked by Raoul Bushman and got left for dead.
Spector reached for the Egyptian moon god's Khonshu statue and died. He was a good man, taken too early.
However, comics happened!
God fucking damn it.
Mark Spector got revived, gaining the strength to become larger than life, gaining Batman-like reflexes and strength.
And then he fights werewolves. Ooh.
Buddy, stop interrupting for 5 seconds. Mark would believe that the god Khonshu was giving him a second chance at life, so he would take this chance by protecting the innocent and becoming his champion, Moon Knight.
Khonshu himself is an interesting thing to discuss, as while some people believe that he is very real and has been with Mark his whole life, others believe that Khonshu does not exist and is just a made-up being by Mark.
So he could be insane? What is this? American Psycho?
Truthfully, it just depends on the writer. Moon Knight has a good arsenal of weapons like his crescent darts, which are like silver razor blades. He has silver knuckles, the adaptable trenches, which are like Daredevil's billy clubs, and his grappling pistols, which the name tells you all you need to know. He has tear gas, thrown irons, boomerangs, hypersonic sun devices, and a good old-fashioned knockout spray.
And he's packing heat. Moon Knight has so many explosives and weapons. Hell, he even carries liquid nitrogen, because Mark loves Ice Age. He's so Captain Gut-coated.
Thanks to years of being Moon Knight and a bunch of other comic bullshit, Mark started to suffer from dissociative identity disorder, which makes him have multiple personalities.
Oh yeah, his other personalities. Spider-Man, Captain America, and Wolverine. Thanks to these personalities, he gets an energy shield, which can harm Count Nefaria, plus claws and web swinging.
No, not those ones. Never ever mention that one again. Anyway, we've been over Mark and Moon Knight, but there's also the billionaire businessman Stephen Grant, the taxi cab driver Jake Lockie,
and my fucking goat, Mr. Knight.
I mean, you're not wrong, but did you have to interrupt me?
You wouldn't do the goat justice. Mr. Knight shares a lot in common with Mark's personality, except for the fact that he's a brutal detective. He's also taking first place as the drippiest character on the show. Just fucking look at him!
Moon Knight has knocked people out, bent metal bars with a kick, lifted a tree. He's just like me.
I'm scared.
Moon Knight is also incredibly fast, being able to dodge bullets far away and point blank.
For Moon Knight to be able to dodge all these bullets, he must have moved at least 118.776578 meters per second.
That's not all. Moon Knight's strength also changes depending on the number of moons, which is a statement I thought I would never say in my life.
Moon Knight has dodged a train, dodged rockets, dodged lasers. It's all so much.
He also seems to be able to not feel pain from actual bullets.
It seems to be a trait for stupid people. Like, if I stab you with this knife, you wouldn't feel it.
Now wait a second, don't do that.
Moon Knight also seems to have control over the sustenance of Moonrock, giving full control of things like fucking Mjolnir. Not like he can summon it or anything, but it's full dimension.
For being one of the 200 superheroes in New York, Moon Knight has done a bunch of weird shit.
Like how he got his money back from Dracula.
Aqua, you know those never happened, right?
What?
Yeah, just an edited panel.
What about Random Bullshit Go?
That's also not real.
No!
Wanna know what is real though?
What?
Him fucking teleporting. Because Moon Knight has evolved beyond being the random hobo that beats up crazy people. He's become a member of the West Coast Avengers and opened up the Midnight Mansion where people could request for help.
However, Moon Knight would find himself with impossible odds. His god was no longer able to help him with a sonic pulse that was going to set off that would make everyone insane.
All he had was his other personalities and their motivation to help him push through and stop this. And he did it. He saved the world and Mark Spector was put to rest.
Moon Knight had saved the world, yet no one would have known of his efforts, except the remaining members of the Midnight Mansion, who would carry on the legacy of Mark Spector.
And now, foul demon, face the vengeance of the Moon Knight.
John Paul Valley was a normal guy, all things considered. He was a student scientist who tried to do his very best in the profession.
Until his father ended up dead on his doorstep, and a suit of armor that belonged to the Order of St. Dumas, with John being the next in line to don the armor, becoming the bringer of death Azrael.
Azrael's suit is nothing to scoff at. It's bullet resistant and fireproof. It's even equipped with wrist blades that can produce fire.
Azrael also comes packing with gauntlets that can shoot out fire blasts. These were invented by an engineer that Batman himself stated was the world's greatest technical genius.
Azrael's iconic blade, the flaming sword, is nothing to scoff at. As the name implies, it's a flaming sword, slashing through any of its play.
Becoming Azrael at first was a blessing, becoming vengeance itself, until the system took in.
The system is a mental programmer, assisting Azrael in combat, warning whoever come in attacks, blocking pain, and it even helps him automatically dodge attacks.
You think it can help him jerk off?
What the Sigma?
What?
Never mind.
Due to his badass nature, he became an ally to the Bat family, mainly because he saved Batman from capture. Despite being able to kill someone with his bare hands, John is a good man at heart.
He even took up the mantle of Batman once. No surprise, given the strength and speed to match Bruce.
I mean, that is still incredibly dumb of Bruce, since both Dick and Tim were much better choices than John.
But he was getting better mentally, and it was the 90s. It was time for crazy-ass things.
Azrael has flipped cars, fought the likes of Bane, Nightwing, Huntress, and even Batman himself.
The dude has juggled 600 pounds like it's nothing. Azrael is fucking crazy, man.
No shit, he's caught to a car with a single jump, jumped 4 stories in a single leap, and dodged sniper shots like they were nothing.
And Bro can heal from bullet wounds without any help.
But Azrael doesn't want any of this. He wants to live without violence, but still help the people that need it.
And Gotham is one fucked up world where people would only learn through violence. But whenever Azrael puts the suit on, his mental state just gets worse and worse.
And that's how Azrael loses a majority of his battles. He becomes too unstable to continue battling.
It's like you when I tell a shitty joke.
I'll pretend I didn't hear that one. And this is what makes John such a good hero, because of all that darkness in his life. Yet he still pushes through all that to be a hero for the greater good.
But in a battle against Jill and Scratch, John would be shot through his armor and fall off a balcony, leading to the end of his fight.
This would have been the end of Azrael's fate, until the DC Universe was rebooted by The Flash.
Bro, thoughts on how they literally took out the greatest character ever and went, you stay, I go.
And this time, Azrael would end up teaming up with Tim and Jason to destroy the Order.
He also has this sick-ass flaming sword. I mean, look at that thing!
And after this, Azrael would end up becoming an integral part of the Bat family, which was great because his toughest battle was yet to come.
Azrael and the Bat family would go against Ascalon, a machine with the powers of Azrael's suit, but without the need of someone to wield it.
Not only had Ascalon reprogrammed a bunch of Batwing suits, and the system had begun messing with his mind again, and this time, it was stronger than ever.
He could just not catch a break, can he?
Nope! Especially when he put the suit back on again and became a bloodthirsty killer once more.
But this time, Azrael wasn't facing it alone. He was the key to this fight, but he couldn't fight in his current condition.
They had been making Azrael a new suit that keeps all of the enchantments from the Suit of Sorrows, but removes the murder sinners.
But his new suit, which totally isn't a reference to Nightfall, has one new thing.
An AI based on all of Batman's best attributes, which allows him to fight Aslan on even ground.
And when the human and the robot fight on even ground, the human always wins.
The one thing that differs the old Azrael and the new one was that the old Azrael would always go and try to face things on his own.
But this Azrael wasn't alone. He has friends and family to help him. I mean, hell, he became part of the Justice League Odyssey and began working at Wayne Tech as a security guard.
That's like the most boring job ever.
Hey, he's gotta pay the bills, somehow.
But at his core, Azrael is still that weapon, but from now on, he will be a weapon for justice for Gotham City.
Made the right decision, Michael.
I do no one's bidding but God's. The Order must answer for what they have done to me.
Both combatants are ready to enter the realm of gods. Let's find out which one is more crazy.
existed for centuries. They have more right to this city than you ever will. A higher power is called for. Divine justice will be wrought upon us all. No matter how difficult the test, I will prevail.
Wow, Mark's gonna need something to ease that pain.
Oh boy, easiness was the hardest debate of our whole show so far, both having many advantages over the other.
First, stats. Mark could lift a tree on his own, and if you wanted to, scale to other street tiers of his verse, like Deadpool, who survived getting launched out of Krakoa, which, when calculated by the team at G1, reached 30.9 kilotons. Definitely impressive.
However, Azrael had some overall better feats thanks to his scaling. Batman, in one of his many tussles with John, stated he was being thrown around like a toy. Batman is able to compete against the foes of Adam Strange pretty efficiently. Adam Strange could survive being launched to the sun, which again, when calculated by the G1 blog, was calculated to 62.89 kilotons. Sure, it may be a little too generous, but the point here is that despite Mark's own strength, John can get higher.
Speed was actually pretty easy. Both can dodge bullets and even lasers. For the sake of the argument, though, let's give Moon Knight the edge, since he has more clear feats of laser dodging.
Experience in tech is where things become too much for poor Mark. Moon Knight does have a background as a mercenary, but Azrael has been trained and stalemated Batman, one of the greatest martial artists in DC. Even if you wanted to give Mark stalemates that equate to him being like Shang-Chi, Azrael would still be at least equal.
And then there's tech. While Moon Knight has a wide arsenal, it's all things Azrael has seen before on the field. Plus, with the system and/or Batman AI, he could come up with a good strategy to counter anything Mark threw.
And before we got those comments, Khonshu is not very reliable. There are several runs in which Khonshu just gives up on Mark because he's a selfish douchebag. Plus, even if he could revive Mark, he would just die over and over and over again until Mark just gives up.
Moon Knight was one tough son of a bitch, and given the right circumstances, he could have won the night. But John's overwhelming power, arsenal, and sheer experience won him the bout.
The winner is Azrael.
Hello everybody, and thank you for watching Moon Knight vs. Azrael! I am very excited with how this episode turned out. Obviously I'm recording this before the episode premiere, so I have no clue what everyone's going to think of it. But I had so much fun working on this. It was mainly Dormanos who wrote this episode and directed it. I did kind of help a lot with the writing process because there's a lot of stuff to go over with these characters given their very long comic history. But it was a lot of fun to work on. I had so much fun to work on. Obviously, there's not going to be a next time for this episode if you were expecting one. This was supposed to come before Reagan vs. King. And sadly, that just didn't work out. The animator got a bit delayed, and that's entirely fine. Speaking of the animator, that's Fade. Please go check him out. He has a Twitter. He posts really cool shit. I hope we get to do more shit with him in the future. It was just a lot of fun. This was a lot of fun to work on, even though it was definitely delayed. Regardless, at the time of this recording, we have Gojo vs. Jingliu coming out next. So I hope you're ready for that episode. With that out of the way, thank you all for watching this one. See you in the next one. Peace.